Welcome to the Everything Yachting YouTube channel. Our goal is to help yacht buyers, yacht owners, and yacht sellers through interesting, educational, and informative discussions on topics that are anything and everything yachting related. Hello and welcome to the Everything Yachting Podcast. My name is Captain Eric Gervais, and today we're at the Miami Boat Show aboard the latest 100V, and I'm with my good friend Tom Serio. Tom, how long have we known each other?
A very long time.
It's
10, 12, 15, I lose track, Eric.
It's been a bit. So I think I can call you Captain, right?
Former captain, I was, 100-ton captain.
What stories do you have from that? How did you get into being a yacht captain?
You know, it goes way back. My father bought a boat, and his first boat he ever owned after he retired from his dental practice was a 34-foot Silverton. Okay. And he wasn't agile enough to run up and down the bridge, to the bridge. So I became his captain by default, and I loved it. I was on boats when I was younger. You know, the fact that now we had a family boat that we can use and take my dad and the family out. And we had a couple of great years with him when he was still healthy. But you know, once you get this in your blood, once you get that salt water in your veins, you know, you always have it. So I've kept it, and I've been doing this for 30 some odd years of being a captain, an operator, owner. I was a mechanic, so I worked on my own boats. And being a captain, that gives me the ability now to walk through a yacht and understand what's happening, what's going on from the bottom to the top.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's some of your fondest memories from that Silverton?
Fondest memory, going up the Hudson River, up to Albany. We did that, made a trip there. I love going around Manhattan. We were boating out of Freeport, Long Island, New York, and making the trips up the East River around to Port Washington, Long Island Sound, just being in the East River and seeing New York's skyline. You know, you're not in the car on land, you're looking at it from the water. A lot of people don't get that vantage point. Okay. And it's just made for some very exciting boating and just destinations, you know, finding new places to go to.
So on that Silverton, or in your yachting career, you know, even today as a photographer, professional photographer and writer, how north, south, east, west has yachting taken you?
Yachting has taken me from Rhode Island all the way down here to Florida, to West Palm Beach. My first trip of running the ditch, as they call the Intercoastal Waterway, I was by myself. And I went from Rhode Island down to Jupiter. And everybody said, oh my God, what if something happens? I said, well, you know, I love yachting, and if I die yachting, that's okay, you know. But I had planned it out. I love navigating as well as operating a vessel, but I love navigating and getting the charts out and plotting that course and knowing where I'm going to stop every night. And I had it all figured out. And the owner was like, look, you got it going. Just do me a favor, run the inside, don't go outside. Mm-hmm. Okay, no problem.
What was that on?
It was on a 41 or so Tiara.
I won't ask you what year that was, but it was a 41 Tiara. So
I had brown hair back then.
What side? So east and west. You've gone to Rhode Island to Florida. What about east-west? What have you done?
Not a lot east-west, and I do want to do that because I've got friends who have been there around the ICW in the Gulf. Okay. And I hear it's an exciting, or cutting across the Gulf, which is something I want to do. Also, I haven't boated to the Bahamas yet, so I want to do that. I did have a trip, not as captain, but as a photographer. I was on a 208-foot vessel photographing the owner's vacation. I remember that. This was for 3 weeks. So I was on this boat.
Where was that?
I got on the boat in Grenada, and we ran up and stopped at every island in the Caribbean all the way up to the BVI. And that's when I got off and flew home. But 3 weeks, photographs, drone, GoPros, 15,000 photos it took. The reason I take that many photos, I don't know what the owner's going to want at the end. What kind of video? What's going to be in it? And with the parents and the kids, everybody going in different directions, I was running all day long, every day for 3 weeks.
So the boating love turned into a camera love and a writing love. And how far has that taken you now? So you've been in Grenada, right? Mm-hmm. You've been down island all over Simplify. Yeah. You've been up to almost the Canada border, down to Florida. Have you gone anywhere else in the world?
I haven't gone anywhere else. Well, I'm sorry, let me take that back.
You went to a factory?
In Taiwan.
Okay.
Every few years I have an open house. They bring some journalists from the US. I've been fortunate enough to go twice, where they take you over there. They show you the factory. You can understand what goes on in the boat. Mm-hmm. We have journalists in this business that get on a boat and say, oh, it's nice, it's shiny, it's this, it's that. But is it functional? You know, can I change the fuel filters in 6-foot seas? Mm-hmm. Is it, you know, if something goes wrong behind the wall, can I get at an access panel? Mm-hmm. And when you go to a factory, you understand what's happening underneath. You know, a yacht is a mini
I've been
city.
to many factories around the world. I totally get it, and they're not all the same. There's lots of difference between them, and you can kind of tell as a consumer based on the final product what that factory looks like, you know, or how that factory is managed.
Right.
You know, that's at least at my level, I can look at that boat and kind of go, you know.
Well, and you know when you get on, when you look at the craftsmanship, the joinery, you know, when I get on a Marlowe, I know what's behind it. You know, I've been working with you guys for a long time. But some of these other boats, you get on at these boat shows, and you're like, how does this even pass quality control? How do they let this walk out of the factory with these cracks or this sealant that's not even? I mean, how easy it is to make a nice bead of sealant, and these guys, you know, some of the yards just don't care.
The camera picks up everything.
The camera does pick up everything, and then you can fine tune that and say, well, you know, I can zoom in and say, you know, this just isn't good. I can't use that picture if it's not looking good.
Right. So what do you do now with your camera and your talents of writing? Who are you working for?
You know, I'm freelance, so I can work for anybody for my writing and photography.
If this client who's watching this today just took delivery of a new Marlowe, you could fly out, do your drone, do photos, and do something special for them if you want to. Do something special for them.
That's an interesting point. What I like to do is I love to shoot yachts at night. I love to show a yacht lit up. I mean, because there's a whole science about the lighting, what goes on. You go to a boat show, it's all during the day. You don't know how the boat's going to be lit up at nighttime. I love to bring that to the owner, and I'll go out, like here in Miami, I was out last night shooting the Marlows because they're right here by the bridge.
I saw you shooting a bunch. I posted that Marlowe. It was beautiful. I like the angle you took with the flag. It kind of just made that a focal point of it. Why are you here tonight? I know the answer to the question, but why are you here tonight?
I'm going to photograph your party. Well, but the reason is, I'm going to photograph the party, but I want to meet some of your owners. I shot one of the boats here, so I want to see the owner. I just like to get the feedback. You know, hey, did you like the picture? Did we not like the picture? We just did a big shoot with you guys, shooting 253-foot yachts, and this is one of them that the owner's going to be here.
Have you met them yet?
I have not met them.
So I'm going to put a little teaser out to you. One of them is not a emotional type of person, I'm told.
Okay.
And one of them got a lump in the throat when I sent them that picture of the cover of their boat on one of these magazines that you shot for. Which magazine was that?
Southern Boating.
Southern Boating. Right. So their boat made the cover, and that person, you know, really took it in the best case way, to the point of feeling emotional about it.
And that's my job as a photographer. I want the people to get emotion out of my photographs. You know, this person, you know, they spend a lot of money, hard-earned money, they have their yacht, but to see it on a cover of a magazine, it's a hoot. You know, that's why I want them to feel good about the picture I take. We did the one last year, the Green Hull 90-foot boat that made the cover of the magazine. And not only did the owner enjoy that picture, I was able to have that picture reproduced in a pencil drawing by a Seabolt artist, my friend Sandra. But that now brings a new level to the ownership. That if we can give them a beautiful picture of their yacht that they can hang at home or in their office, a photograph.
Right between these two globes could be a photo that you've taken of this 100V that an artist transitioned into a painting.
A freehand.
A freehand
drawing.
Is a drawing, okay. And that could then be framed and put up there.
It can, and when an owner sees that's their yacht, it just, you know, I want them to have a warm feeling about it. I want them to get that lump in their throat. I want them to say, wow, that's my boat, you know, and that's what I'm looking for.
I think that's powerful because as somebody who, you might be out there grinding every day, doing your thing, accumulating your dollars, maybe you're boating now, maybe you're sailing, maybe you're sport fishing, maybe you're center consoling, and the goal is to spend more time on the water and maybe go down island as an example. First off, the advice is do it sooner. And the reason is you got to do it while you have your health. And that's leading into the point that I want to say with Tom, which when you don't have the health, you're going to look back at this and what do you have to remember that time with friends and family? It's things like that painting or that artwork or whatever it is that now sits in your office or in your living room or maybe in one day in the nursing home. And you look at what's the favorite thing. And it sounds silly, but that's part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Is I want to watch it later. I feel like I'm in the best years of my life right now. I felt like that 5 years ago, and I probably felt like that 5 years before. But, fast forward, if I make it 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, 100 years, whatever, right? This will live forever.
Yeah.
And I won't maybe remember this moment in time, but I bet it'll put a smile on my face later. So that's the power of what Tom can do for you if you have a beautiful yacht. It doesn't matter if it's a Marlowe, it can be anything, and it's important to you. Tom's a good dude. He writes a good story. He takes good photos. He flies a drone well. He's only crashed a few of them. At the end of the day, you're spending a lot of money on all of this for a reason. Why don't make it timeless if you can? Maybe your grandkids would like that picture, or your grandkids would like to watch that video that maybe you have Tom put on YouTube, or you can put it on my channel. I mean, whatever. At the end of the day, I'm doing all this a little bit for me, but I'm also doing it for Tom, and I'm doing it for you. That's what everything yachting is about, is how do we do more of what the goal is, which is to have a good time and create memories, priceless memories, with our friends and family.
Well, and let me, at that point, is too many people get caught up in all this. Like, it's too much, it's too big, too expensive, too this, too that. You're right, you've got to enjoy life while you have your health, while you have the means to do it. And the fact that this should be a non-stressful part of your life, where you look forward to being on the boat because you can relax. You can be with the family. I can't tell you how many times an owner has told me, that yacht now becomes my central point for the family to get together, right? And everybody said life goes by very quickly, kids grow up too fast. Capture that time now on a yacht or boat or whatever, where you're all together enjoying the outdoors, the yacht itself, each other's company, and you're going to make fabulous memories. My kids still talk about spending time on our Silverton. They were little, and my kids are in their 30s now, but we still talk about it. Oh, it was great. We did this, we fished, we that, And this is what life is about, is to enjoy the experiences. Yes, we could make a lot of money. Does that make you successful? Maybe yes, maybe no. At this point in my life, if my kids are doing well in life, then I say I've been successful.
100%. Well, yachting is a small window of one's life, on average. I think most people, when they're younger, they don't have the funds to do the yachting unless they've grown up in a family that has that. If they have to be the tip of the spear, as we would say in the Marine Corps, to get into yachting, as I am for my family. I had, a period of years where I couldn't monetarily afford it, right? And then what's going to sneak up on you, because I see it, okay? I learn a lot from what I've done in life, right? I was a wild child when I was younger. I went in the Marine Corps and I worked in military police and corrections. And that took a little bit of the wild out of this child, right? Because I learned from that, okay? Then you fast forward and I went into finance, right? And I learned a little bit, on the finance side. I learned a little bit about people and life expectancy and things that can happen. And then I get into yachting and I see successful people run out of time, but don't run out of money. So what I'm trying to say is the yachting and health window, because it takes a while to get there financially, and then health, you can't maybe stay there, is a little bit smaller than what we all realistically hope it will be. So that's why I go back to, if you can afford it, do it early. Maybe do it smaller. Maybe you wanted the 70-footer, okay? Do it in the 50-footer, right? Go, have some fun. Figure out how your work-life balance can blend together so that those memories can be created sooner. And then if you enjoy it, make it timeless through Tom, because a photo or a video or artwork will last forever, and that can be generational. Maybe that yacht won't stay in the family 3 generations, but I bet the grandkids remember that picture, and it probably will, right?
I still have pictures of my Silverton.
Right? I mean, it's powerful. So that kind of leads me to favorite cruising grounds. What, of all the places you've been,
favorite cruising
what's your favorite?
You
Or maybe where you haven't been and you've heard a story. Where do you want to go? Because I bet you someone on that is either wanting to go where you're about to say or dreaming about going someplace you haven't been.
Well, favorite cruising ground growing up on Long Island is, I mentioned in East River, around Manhattan, but the Long Island Sound area. Because you've got coves and places you can go and anchor up. You got marinas you can go and tie up to, anchorages, places you can get out of the weather in case a storm comes up on a Sunday afternoon. You get that thunderstorm line come through. You can go to Connecticut, you go to Montauk, you can go anywhere. You go around Montauk to the South Fork of Long Island. So there's great boating around Long Island. That's what I love that. If I was ever going to move back to Long Island, it would be for the boating or running a boat for somebody.
Okay.
Because I love cruising that. I love coming down the coast. I would like to boat sometime down to Key West from Palm Beach. I haven't been down south on a boat. I've been plenty of times by car.
I've got a big boat that I'm going to be listing in the near future that we're going to do a pretty special video shoot. Why don't we just work together on it?
Let's do it.
They live down the Keys. They live up here, and why not? I mean, let's make some memories and dreams come true.
Why not?
Right, we can.
And we can do a special job for the owner where they're going to say, wow, that was cool, and what these guys put together is timeless, and they're going to treasure it.
How'd you get into photography and writing, and why?
By accident.
What is by accident? So, what does that mean? You trip with a camera in your hand and hit click, and there was a beautiful shot at the end of it, or what?
And somebody paid for it. Actually, I moved down to Florida from New York. I was a captain at the time, and I met up with Lucy Reed, the publisher for the Triton newspaper. And she would have these monthly captain meetings, and I went to a few of them. And then I sent her an email. I said, here, I have ideas for stories. She goes, well, why don't you write one? I said, well, I'm not a writer. I didn't go to school for journalism. I hated English in high school. She goes, pick one.
Me too.
See? So pick one and write about it. So I did. I wrote about Peterson Fuel Barge.
Okay.
So great. She published the story. Then she asked me, she goes, do you have any pictures? Do you take any? And I had my Kodak camera, you know. I said, yeah, I took a few pictures. She goes, if I use them, I'll pay you for the photo. I said, what? Every picture I use, I'll pay you for the picture. If I even reproduce it 2 months later, I'll pay you again. I'm like, well, then heck, I'm a photographer too. Okay. And that's how it all started. I never took a class for journalism or writing. I never took a class to operate a camera. To me, a camera is a mechanical device. That's my mind. I was a mechanic since I was 15 years old. So I have a mechanical aptitude. I look at a camera, and when you click that button, what's happening inside that camera? Physically, I know. So then I can go and change it, make the adjustments to make the camera give me the photo I want. You know, changing the aperture, shutter speed. I do everything in manual mode. You know, even during the day. You know, a lot of people shoot automatic. Everything I shoot is manual mode.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I don't understand any of it, and I hit the click. And if it didn't look good, I hit the click again.
but the writing
not
part.
My profession.
No, that's okay. You're a great broker, not a photographer. But the writing now has taken me to places. I've been published in Germany and Italy, and I've chased stories. It was a 158-foot Perini Navy. They got shipwrecked after Hurricane Wilma in 2005.
Okay.
And it was stuck outside Key West for 4 years.
Oh, I remember that.
Right?
Yeah.
Legacy was the name of the boat. And I got a hold of this owner after the first year he was stuck there, and I became friends with him, and I was able to write about the recovery of that yacht. And it was published. Perini Navy even bought the story and my photos and put it in a magazine. So these project stories are very cool. And the fact that I got to meet this great, crazy owner whose mission it was to save this yacht because he said the yacht saved him and the crew during the hurricane.
Why were they on it in the hurricane?
He's been on that boat for other hurricanes. A 158-foot Perini Navy with 2 anchors allegedly should support anything. Well, the anchors broke. The boat got sucked out of Key West Harbor. The back of the storm comes through, wind changes direction, got pushed back into the eelgrass, the national sanctuary, and it got stuck. And he couldn't just pull it out. He had to go through all kinds of hurdles for years with government agencies, insurance companies, everything else, trying to recover his boat.
Wow.
So it was a big story. My understanding is right now that boat is sitting anchored off up in Fort Pierce. I have not been able to get a hold of the owner again because I do want to find out what his last plan is. But he's in his 80s now, you know, if he's still around.
How many different brands do you think you've taken a photo of or been aboard or write a story of? However you want to quantify that.
40 to 50 different brands.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I've been on a lot of boats. I've been on a lot of boats, a lot of styles, a lot of models. A lot of boats are made for different things. A couple of boats are made for everything, but that doesn't always work, right? Because somebody builds a boat and says, you can cruise your family and can, take it out to the canyons, go fishing and do this and do this and do this. You can't do everything all well. Look at your niche and what is your market. You look at a Marlowe and you say, that's a great cruising boat, and it is, okay? But people look at a Marlowe and say, wow, that's a great trawler. Well, it isn't. Because you and I both know that these boats with the different power configurations can do over 30 knots.
I try to keep it a secret sometimes. Sometimes I let it out. I don't know what to do, but it's like the best kept secret in the industry, in my opinion.
But the thing is, it surprised me. Right. And as a writer and as trying to get the message out to my reader, is that these boats just don't go plodding through the oceans at 5 or 10 knots. You can do 30 knots in these boats, get out of harm's way, get to your destination, enjoy the ride, and it's not a trawler type of boat. Yeah.
So you take the photos this year, you make a photographer of the millennium or whatever it is, you get a huge, crazy amount of income and you decide to retire and go boating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without being super crazy, you know, like I want the biggest yacht in the world type of a story.
Mm-hmm.
What's perfect for you and your family? What would you go after? What are your top 1, 2, 3? I have no idea what you're gonna say.
Okay. So if I had the means, small boats, I would love a Pursuit.
Okay.
Why? They're small. They respond well. I've been on a lot of them. I like the way they handle. I like what the company does with their boats.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in business a long time. They manufacture down here in Florida. I've been to their factory. They support a lot of things. One of the things Pursuit does, which is very cool, is every new boat they sell, they give the owner, I forget what it is, 2 days of on-water training with Chapman School up in Fort Pierce, in that area. So the best thing for us is having a safe boater. Why not educate them right out of the box, right? And that's what Pursuit does. Sport fishing, I'm going with the Viking. Right. I love the Viking. I love the fact that they're family owned, operated. They've been around for many years. They've been through all the hurdles of 2008-09 financial tax and issues, things like that. They know how to run their company. I like the boats. I like the way they handle, and I think they're beautiful yachts. But look, if I'm going to cruise, I'm going to want one of these. I want a Marlowe, and I'll tell you why. I love the woodwork. I love the craftsmanship. I love the fact that David Marlowe will go to the umpteenth degree to perfect his boats. And I know there's a story out there that he yanked a boat out of the water 3 times in one day just to pitch that prop a little bit to get another knot of speed out of it. I've had the opportunity and the great time of sitting with him several times and several hours, just understanding where he comes from.
Right.
You know, when you look at a boat like a Marlowe,
He's a special guy.
yeah. Well, who is David Marlowe, right? And where did it come from? And talk about salt in the veins. He's had it since birth, practically. Yeah. But what's he thinking about? He's put challenges out there that other companies can't match, right? The cruising thing up north. He has schooled me on several things about why the anchor is placed in a certain location in the hull. You know, speed. When you look at the curve, what's the best miles per gallon and range? The Velocijets struts that protect the shaft. Why? Because shafts create drag when they go through the water when they're spinning.
He's taught and trained an entire team that is continuing to follow in his footsteps and do all the things that he's done. And we're doing more, and there's some new stuff out there. We're always trying to improve. And I want to tell you, I like your story about Pursuit. Okay, and there's a lot of different styles out there. But one thing that we do, and I'm doing it actually on Monday. That 53 that made the cover, okay? We closed on that boat recently. We're delivering that boat right here after the show, and I'm personally taking them on a trip, 400 miles for 5 days.
Wow.
Slowly hopping back towards Tampa Bay.
Okay.
So we do the same thing with a little bit of a flair, is we actually go cruising with them, right?
Great.
There's dockside training. There's orientation of all systems and breakers, and then there's real world, let's get out and go, planning, navigation, the whole entire thing. So everybody does it a little differently. We kind of handle it in a one-on-one, and I tell you, if you buy a Marlowe Explorer from me, I'm going to do that for you.
Well, and Eric, we need that. You can't just hand somebody the keys to a 50, 60, 70-foot yacht and say, it's yours. Right?
Well, you can, and some brokers do.
Well, you can, right, but it's not the right thing to do.
Agreed.
You know that, and I know that.
Agreed.
If we can educate the owner, and they're happy with the way that they can manage their yacht, then they're going to be great boaters. Then they're going to come back. Then they're going to stay in the industry. What we don't want is somebody saying, I hate boating because I had a bad experience, and I'm out of boating forever. I'll go get a chalet somewhere.
Yeah. You know how far I take that? I take that where I tell them anytime they have a question, loop me in on the email to the service team, to the cat dealer, to whoever. I said, if I don't know, I don't know. But if you loop me in an email, and now that I see the conversation, and maybe it's an answer I don't like, or a price I don't like, or a time frame of response I don't like. I was in the Marine Corps. I stand up and kick down a door. That's just how I am. So I get it done. And I think that helps me help them. Right. And then they always come back to me when it's time to sell or upgrade or go bigger. And it doesn't have to stay in a particular brand. I've branched out to many different brands, either on new build or used, because I've added value to that client and they don't want to proceed without me. That's been something that has paid dividends with my client for life approach. You know, and I learned that as a financial advisor. That's where and how I came up with that. So,
but there's value to that. There's value to them to have that relationship with you, and there's value to you to have that relationship with them.
Right.
When they're changing, they're coming to you.
Right. What you pick 3 boats. I don't care which one. How would you cruise it? Like the dream one of the 3, right? Are you gonna buy the fishing? You hit the Powerball tomorrow for $100 million bucks. Are you going fishing? Are you going fast center console cruising? Are you gonna get the Marlowe and go around the world or go down island? And what speeds are you gonna run? What makes you happy?
If I hit the lottery, I'm selling my house.
Okay.
And I'm gonna live on a yacht.
Okay.
All right. Probably a Marlowe, because I think at my age now, I've done a lot of fishing before.
Yeah.
You know, been to Montauk and offshore and the whole 9 yards. And
Okay.
you know, I think I would love to cruise, to find new places to go to, and for my family to enjoy new experiences.
How many staterooms would you want?
Probably 3.
Okay. Would captain's quarters count for that?
Oh, no.
Would you have a captain? Or would you
No.
owner operator? Okay, so
No.
owner
Owner
operator.
operator.
3. Okay. So you don't
That's
need
half the
captain?
fun, being behind the wheel.
So good news is a 53 Marlowe would do all that for you, or you could go bigger if you decided to, right?
No, but you know, I've seen enough with these yachts where you can actually be an owner-operator up to maybe 70 feet, you know, comfortable, as long as you got a good spouse who's not going to get crazy, and a good radio so you can talk to each other and not yell. But with the technology of being able to put this boat in one spot, hit a button, and it'll sit there while you get your lines on and things like that. Boating now is so much easier.
So much easier.
You know, yes, it's technology, yes, it costs something, but when you want to have the flexibility of being able to just press a button and the boat sits there, or you go out fishing and you press a button right over a wreck and you can do that. You know, I can fish off the back of this boat, right? I can put a couple of lines out. I don't need outriggers and everything else, but drop a couple of lines over a wreck.
We've put them on Marlowe's before. We've done a fishing cockpit in the back.
All right, maybe I do it.
Do you see, so you've been on 40 different boats. You made a comment to me earlier, a custom thing we did in that 53. Is that something you see everybody do?
No, and that custom thing on the 53, the fact that you guys manufactured a bow pulpit that can actually pivot up and get out of the way and save you 2 feet of space from the boat in front of you is huge. How many times you pull into a marina and your anchor is hanging over the guy's cockpit in front of you?
I've gone over a sailboat many times to back into a slip that was way too small for the boat I showed up with at 10 o'clock at night, because you make a reservation, you leave the boat show, everybody beats you there, right? And there's no dockmaster to complain to, and I've got one slip where I can anchor out.
And you're at risk of snagging something. You're at risk of somebody knocking their head into your anchor. The fact that I just saw it here at the show, the fact that you could pivot up, electric, I think it is, the piston.
There's an electric powered hydraulic ram that pushes it up.
And you have the brake and the railing. You can pull up that whole pulpit and save yourself 2 feet there. And you've got a swim platform that you can actually fold up, where you can save a number of feet there. You can actually better manage the yacht when you're trying to get into a slip or side two, and also decrease the overall length. So perhaps you're not paying as much when you go to a marina.
Yeah, think of the Nantucket Yacht Basin, right? During 4th of July, it's like one of the priciest places to be. If you can reduce your LOA, that's going to reduce your cost. So we started doing that for a client who had a slip restriction, right? It could only be, let's just say, 60 feet with a 5-foot overhang, and he wanted a boat that was 70 feet long, right? So that's how we were able to not break the rules of that club, and that just kind of took off, and more people saw it, and we've been doing it more and more often. You know,
but I have never seen that on any other boat. And the fact that you got a problem and you find a solution. You guys always find a solution. And I think Joe told me one day, look, we're in the yes business, right? We will deliver what the customer wants, and we'll figure out how to do it. And you guys, the masterminds that sit over those blueprints, you folks and folks at the plant,
we work together,
come out with a solution. And the owner's got to look at that and say, wow, that's great. You know, I'm with the right company, because these guys aren't afraid of trying something new.
Right. So are you, back to my original question, are you an 8-knot guy, a 5-knot guy, a 10-knot guy, a 20-knot guy?
I'm probably a 20-knot guy.
Okay, so you're going to save some money for some fuel, and you're going to go and have a good time?
Yeah, because I want to go to, like you mentioned, I want to go to places I haven't been. I did the Caribbean on that charter. I want to go back there because I thought some of the islands were beautiful, gorgeous, and a whole new experience down there. You know, some people were stuck in boating. As mentioned, I grew up in Long Island. I was doing the Northeast boating. And then you come to Florida, and it's a whole different way of boating. And then you go to the Caribbean, it's a whole different way of boating. So it's not just one size fits all type thing. Go out and experience the different types of boating. Can you take this boat to the Bahamas? Absolutely. Okay, you pick your window, you go. Right?
I grew up fast boating on lakes, right,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes offshore, and then I transitioned into more slow boating because on our deliveries, right, we save the fuel. The company's paying for it, so we run slow. We find our most economical speed,
Mm-hmm.
so I can actually bank fuel, right, so that if the waves pick up or I'm running late, and it's getting dark out, or I'm bored and I just want to goose it, I have that fuel for the trip.
Right.
So we always try to run slow most of the time, but save enough to, have 2 or 3 hours of running fast if we need it. And I'll tell you, I enjoy running slow. I see the sea turtles, I see the flying fish. You just see all of the marine life so much more because you're not just blowing by it. I'm comfortable I'm on the boat, but my favorite slow speed cruising is at night. Have you ever been out there with a full moon, no light pollution, offshore?
I love cruising at night. And people, it's scary, first of all, the first time you do it. Because inky black out there typically, when you're out in the ocean. But if you read the charts, you understand the light configuration of buoys, landmarks and things like that, you don't have any problem. Nobody's around, the crazies are all home, and it's just a nice, peaceful thing inside the bays on the South Shore of Long Island or being out, around Manhattan. It's just a whole different world. And too many people just don't like doing that. And so I'm like, no, do it, try it. Yes, it's a whole different perspective, but it's a whole different world also. The calmness it could bring to you. Or watching a little lightning storm offshore, 50 miles away, but being able to capture all that.
If you're working hard and you don't know why yachting, but you're watching this video, it's a battery recharge. The CEOs that I work with do this because it allows them to put fuel back in their tank, their soul, their whatever, to go back to the grind again next week or next month or next 2 months until they have the time to do it again. Some people charter, some people own it and go do it. And to me, that's a big part of what these working people, still working people, go yachting for, in addition to the memories. It's a little bit of self-healing.
Well, you talk about working people. You guys design these boats. If an owner wants an office, you can build an office, right? So I've seen that on the boats, which is great because the first thing that you've got to ask somebody, and correct me if I'm wrong, is what kind of boating do you want to do?
Yeah. What's your mission? I treat it just like an airplane, right? There's not a perfect airplane for everything, right? But there's a perfect airplane for your mission. So we have to know your mission so we can find you the right boat to go do that mission. I will tell people often, I'd prefer you to buy one boat versus two because it's more expensive to buy two boats, right? There's transactional fees and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So if I can really understand your mission, you may actually buy a little bit bigger boat or you may actually buy a little bit smaller boat based on your actual mission, but you make the decision. I just educate, right? I've seen it, I've got the experience, and I'm going to tell you what I think the truth is, and then you make an informed decision. We have a VIP party starting pretty quickly, so I do want to wrap this up. We've got 2 more general questions before, if there's anything you want to ask me. Why are you in yachting?
I love hunks of fiberglass that get moved by motors. Why am I even yachting?
That's a great answer. It's an original answer.
Oh, there you go.
I bet if you're watching this, you probably do too, right? Brian's back there with a big old smile on the camera.
It's just different. Being on the water is very different than being on land. Land is great. Water is wonderful.
Yeah.
Dealing with the challenges. You get out there, you got a beautiful day, you're coming home and it's storms kicking up. What do you do? How do you get home safely? How do you take care of the family? I've been caught in squalls before. I've had the bimini ripped apart, on my boat, sitting in a canal, waiting for this front to come through.
Those are the memories, though. Those are the stories you tell.
My kids talk about it. But it's just a different way of life. And in this crazy, hectic world, I still want to find that calm denominator. And a boat, being on a boat, brings that to me. Yeah, you got to bring stuff down. You bring people down. You get out, but it's just so different. And just cruising around, like I say, seeing the sea life. I love when I'm doing a sea trial on one of your boats, and we're over near the Tampa area, watching the dolphins come out and ride along on our bow wave.
Yeah, they're fans of Marlowe for sure. They come out every time.
They do. I know. But the fact that you can open somebody's eyes to sea life like that, or seas, or the Caribbean, or I would love to go at some point be on the west coast of the U.S. because the boating there is very different than the boating over here.
I've been fortunate enough to do that. I'm heading out again soon. I tell you, I'm living the dream. So for me, sunrises and sunsets. I love being on the water for the sunrises and sunsets.
Yeah.
It's just, it's panoramic, it's 360, and I'll never forget the first time I had near mirror water in the Gulf of Mexico and the sun coming up. I could see a sea turtle a mile away or better because there was nothing moving. So as soon as anything moved, it caught your eye and you could identify it because it was so flat.
But have you seen the green flash at sunset?
Not to 100% of my desired expectation of what it is. Okay. Have I seen some stuff that is, Key Westy, I haven't seen like a green Hulk coming at me of craziness, and that's what I want it to be. So
that's what everybody looks for, that green flash at sunset.
I can't say that I've seen it to the point where I don't need to keep looking.
Okay.
Right? I'm gonna keep looking.
That's right, keep on looking. I mean, it's gonna be out there.
Is there anything you want to promote? You've done a lot of work for us. I appreciate the heck out of you. I appreciate your honesty and integrity. I totally know that there's brands that you will not work for because you're not proud of whatever, and I won't go into negativity. I love that you love us. Thank you for that. I love that I can't even think of how many Marlows you shot, but I've driven you around a lot. You have. Put some miles down. So is there anything that you would like to promote? Anything you'd like to tell this audience that we might not know?
There are a few things in life that still make me real excited. My friend Sandy with Seabold Portraits does it where she can do that hand drawing of your yacht or your kids or your cars, whatever. But I like the fact that whenever I have to deal with you guys and the Marlowe team, and I make my 4-hour drive from my house to the Marlowe yard for a sea trial, it's always well orchestrated. I never have an issue. The boats are always ready. The boats are fueled. The boats are ready to go. The team, Tom, meet us here and we're going to go, and no problem. Bring a little lunch along. And I get done what I have to get done because you guys make it easier for me to get that done.
Well, thank you. It's lots of practice to try to keep 400-ish customers who are currently cruising around their Marlows happy. So the three-ring circus performs many times a week. We don't shoot 100%, but we sure as heck try. I mean, our goal is 110, and I think 99 point whatever we get is above average, and that's what we shoot for.
And I'll tell you this, I like to talk to your owners because I want to know how they feel about you.
Yeah.
And to this day, and I've talked to a bunch of them, and to this day, I really haven't heard anything negative.
Well, I look forward to having you meet more tonight. I hope to have you at our rendezvous, and hopefully one day you'll join the Marlowe family, and you can come to our rendezvous as well. I'd love to take you for a boat ride, do all that fun stuff. If you've got sincere interest, let us know. We can be reached. Our corporate offices are 1-800-362-2657. Marlowe Marine's the website. Tom Serio, what's your website?
TomSerioPhotography.com, and you can find me on Facebook.
Okay, and our friend who does the portraits, what's her website?
SeaboldPortraits.com.
Seabold Portraits. SeaboldPortraits.com. If you have any questions, our contact information will be put up. Reach out to either one of us. We're here to help you achieve your yachting dreams. Captain Eric Gervais and Tom Serio with Everything Yachting, thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Eric.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thanks for joining us at Everything Yachting. I hope you've enjoyed diving into the yachting world today. If you've enjoyed or learned something, please subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for more. Until next time, my friends, healthy families, happy memories, and may fair winds and smooth seas guide your future yachting adventures.